It's that time again where we take a look at the top 10 PlayStation 4 games of the coming month. Now, July is known as one of the weakest months for game releases, probably the weakest. It's that middle month in the summer, and usually game developers don't release a lot of their big titles during the summer. Never really understand why, but that is just the world we live in. Things really pick back up in August, but July is usually rather dead. This July, we do have a couple of very interesting titles. Nothing super marquee, super big budget, but some games that I would highly recommend you to keep your eyes on, and some titles that honestly I would say are worth full price. So without further ado, let's get right into this. One of those games that I feel like is going to be worth full price is Red Faction Guerrilla Re-Mastered. Red Faction Guerrilla was originally released back in 2009 on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, and it was an excellent open world game. Now, comparatively speaking, if you take out open worlds released in recent times compared to Red Faction Guerrilla, yes, Red Faction Guerrilla has fallen off a little bit, but what Guerrilla has going for it is the incredible destructibility. You could literally blow up anything, and the game has that Just Cause quality to it where it's just an incredibly fun game to play. Now, it does falter a little bit in terms of storytelling, but overall I think the gameplay is so strong that Red Faction Guerrilla will be worth the look as the remastered version releases on July 3rd. Next up, we have Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr. Yet another game set in the Warhammer universe, but this game is a little bit differently. It's a top-down game focusing heavily on action, both melee and ranged, with a leveling system and different playable character classes. Yes, if it sounds a little familiar, because yes, it does have that Diablo style to it. The game does have a cover system for both the players and the enemies, so a little bit of strategy attached to it, and this is another game that will feature destructible environments. You can play the game both in solo and in cooperative play as Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr releases on July 5th. Next up, we have a free-to-play game in Defiance 2050. Again, a free-to-play game. Defiance 2050 is a sci-fi shooter, which is a remake of the original game to take advantage of the newer console's power. Along with having visual improvements, the game will also come with brand new content. Now, Defiance 2050 might not be a game you're fully sold on, but again, it'll be absolutely free to try out. Of course, there will be ways to get invested into the experience, but just to try out the game, you can do so absolutely free. The game is touting compelling story missions, and of course, throughout the game, you'll find rare weapons and equipment as you explore this Defiance universe. Defiance 2050 launches on July 10th. Next up, we have Runbow. Runbow is a multiplayer platformer in which players aim to be the first to reach a trophy at the end of each level. You can perform a double jump as well as perform attacks to defeat enemies or gain extra reach while jumping. The background of each level constantly shifts between a variety of different colors, causing obstacles of the same color as the background, such as blockades and spikes, to disappear, so there is a little bit of nuance to the game. Runbow is an interesting indie title. It'll be releasing on the PlayStation 4 on July 3rd. Next up, we have Earthfall. Earthfall is a game you should definitely have on your radar because it's a type of experience that I think a lot of PlayStation 4 owners want, as it's a game that's similar to Left 4 Dead, a 4-player experience where you have to utilize team-based tactics to fortify holdouts and complete objectives quickly. You must work together to fight aliens and finish the mission. Each co-op mission you'll play will reveal another piece of the puzzle. A player can fight an alien with a modern arsenal of weapons, combined with the ability to fortify locations and create barricades and heavy turrets. Earthfall is a budget title that's releasing at $39.99. Personally, I'd probably wait to hear the reviews of this game before picking it up, but you will be able to check it out on July 13th.
Swarm coming! Everybody stay focused! Don't let us down now! We gotta pull together! Barricade ready!
Get it together! Here they come!
Guys, there's a printer here!
Printing complete.
I was not put on this earth to die like a dog. Let's show these things whose planet this is!
Next up, we have Sonic Mania Plus. Yes, Sonic Mania is back with a definitive version, a more expanded version with Sonic Mania Plus. Sonic Mania Plus will obviously include the base Sonic Mania game, but on top of that, you get the downloadable content for the original game and the addition of playable characters in Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel. Each of them will come with unique abilities, as Mighty can slam the ground while Ray can glide without losing altitude. The game also adds an encore mode with remix levels, a 4-player competition mode, more cutscenes, and a reworked Metal Sonic battle based on his appearance in Knuckles Chaotix. The physical version of the game will also come with a 32-page art book and a reversible cover in the style of the Genesis covers. If you've yet to check out Sonic Mania, you're doing yourself a disservice, and Sonic Mania Plus is definitely the version to get, as it's being released on July 17th. Next up, we have The Persistence, yet another PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR title. The Persistence is a first-person stealth horror experience that is exclusive to the PS4. Now, of course, we've seen horror experiences on the PlayStation VR before. Some of them have worked out really well, like Resident Evil 7. Others have left something to be desired, but The Persistence does look promising, as it's set on board a deep space scientific vessel called The Persistence in the year 2521. The ship arrives at the site of a collapsing star 17,000 light years from Earth. While conducting an experiment, a horrific incident occurs, mutating many of the crew. As the Persistence is pulled into the gravity of the collapsing star, the ship's computer wakes the remaining members of the crew from cryogenic sleep one at a time. Can you stay alive long enough to save the Persistence? The context sounds interesting, and we'll know more as the game is released on July 24th. The Banner Saga 3. Yes, one of the most underrated franchises is being wrapped up in July. This is probably my most anticipated game in July, and if you've yet to play the first two Banner Saga games, you are doing yourself an incredible disservice. Those two games are so good, and I am shocked that they haven't gained more traction than they have. Yes, those that have played it have really enjoyed it, but it seems like not enough gamers have played it. And the Banner Saga, with the great Viking theme, the awesome art style, the great presentation, you would think it would be a franchise that would be one of the more notable franchises, but really it hasn't gone to that point. Now, the Banner Saga 3 is the conclusion to the trilogy, and it will once again be a tactical RPG. Expect another great story, and with the release of the Banner Saga 3, also will be released is the Banner Saga Trilogy, which includes all three games in one physical package. That'll be $40, and that is an absolutely great price for all three Banner Saga games, three exceptional RPGs. So if you've yet to check out the franchise, that's the route you should take, as I would recommend you to play Banner Saga 1 and 2 before you jump into 3. Banner Saga 3 will be released on July 24th.
Champions called Sunder lead the Jet Black armies as they cut a swath across the land. The unkillable warlord Bellower and shape-shifting Eyeless have been waylaid only by the cunning of mankind's most powerful spellweavers. But in dark and quiet places, men trade whispers of more on the way. With countless dread descending upon humanity's last bastion, and the darkness looming on the horizon, do they even need the Sunder to bring the last survivors of Arborang to their knees?
Another personal anticipation of ours is the Mega Man X Collection 1 and 2. This is bundling every Mega Man X game. Mega Man X Collection 1 will include Mega Man X 1 through 4. X Collection 2 will include Mega Man X 5 through 8. The later Mega Man X games are less well received by fans. I personally thought they were still pretty good. X5 was actually supposed to conclude this series, but X6 came to fruition, and then we had X7 and X8. X7 and X8, originally being PS2 titles, do see a graphical overhaul, and they look pretty good. However, they are two of the lesser well-received titles in this series. X1 through 4 are great, and the amount of quantity and quality you're getting in the entire collection, that is rather high. So whether you've played the Mega Man X games in the past and you want to revisit them, or if you're just looking for great action games, the Mega Man X collection has you covered, and it'll be released on the PS4 on July 24th. And finally, we have Hello Neighbor. Hello Neighbor is a game that we've known for a while now, and it's a survival horror stealth game, and the aim of the game is for the player to successfully sneak into the basement of their neighbor's house to uncover a secret about them. The game's AI modifies the neighbor's behavior based on the player's past actions, such as setting traps along paths the player followed in a previous attempt. So the game is very interesting. At the very least, you can say that Hello Neighbor is a very unique game, and it'll be finally hitting the PlayStation 4 on July 27th. So that concludes the top 10 PlayStation 4 games coming in July 2018. Again, July has always been the weakest month of the year for game releases, but you look at the game releases with titles like Red Faction, Guerrilla Re-Mastered, Sonic Mania Plus, the Persistence looks interesting. I am super excited for the Banner Saga 3, Mega Man X Collection 1 and 2 is gonna be fantastic. Even titles like Defiance 2050, a new free-to-play game that looks interesting. There's a lot of variety in July, even if there isn't that one major marquee title that's being released. Let us know what you think. What games do you plan on checking out in July, if any, and sound off with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.